Darnell Wright at number 10. That's crazy.
I'm very surprised by that, honestly. There's been some maturity concerns.
Weight problems
on Twitter,
too.
He went after. That's very true as well. I mean, a little bit overweight, carries some bad weight on his frame, but you're talking about a very high quality right tackle that can play inside at guard if you need him to. That gives me a big hint here that they don't really trust Evan Jenkins to come back, and they also really like what they saw out of Braxton Jones this last season too. So, who I thought played very well for being a 5th round pick this last year, coming out of a smaller school at Utah State, and coming in as a full-time starter there at the left tackle position, to go out and get that right tackle, a guy that they need to have for Justin Fields and his success. Like, it's a good move for them. It's just kind of surprising. I figured they would have went like Skoronski or Broderick Jones over Darnell Wright, who I have ranked way higher on my board than Darnell Wright. So interesting move, but I like it.
Lance, why are you down on Smith-Njigba in comparison to these other receivers?
Well, I'm down on this wide receiver class. Jaxson Smith-Njigba is wide receiver 1 in this class. I have a 2nd round grade on him, like a low 2nd round grade on him. I guess that's not true. I have him he's a top 40 player on my board. Don't get me wrong, but in terms of just like the overall talent that he brings to the field, he's a great route runner, great hands, good body control and stuff like that. But he lacks that explosive athleticism that you really desire at the wide receiver position, especially for somebody that works primarily out of the slot. You want to have, some speed versatility there. So I'm down on this receiver class as a whole, and JSN is a 2nd round pick as wide receiver 1. If you stack him up in last year's class, he's below Drake London, he's below Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Jahan Dotson, George Pickens. Like, he's wide receiver 6, 7, 8 in any other class. But this class is so weak as a whole that you have to have somebody as wide receiver 1. And fortunately for JSN this year, he's going to be the first wide receiver taken. I do believe that firmly, but I wouldn't touch him in a top 20 pick.
I want to go back to the earlier in the draft. Lance, your bitter hated Las Vegas Raiders took a very interesting pick in Tyree Wilson, a player I like, but a very weird pick considering their circumstances. What do you guys think about that? Lance, we'll start with you. Your hatred towards the Raiders, and then Connor will go to you after that.
I actually like this pick for the Raiders, to tell you the truth, and it's all because of what Chandler Jones is right now. I mean, you're talking to 34-year-old edge defender that fell off a cliff this last season with practically little production, and you're getting a player that profiles very similarly to Chandler Jones. A lot of length, a lot of strength, a lot of power. He's not, the most explosive guy. He does have some good twitch in his lower half. He's not bendy by any stretch of the imagination, but he's just a high quality edge defender, and you have Chandler Jones there to let him develop for a year so he can actually work on some hand fighting technique and work away from just being a speed to power conversion guy coming off the edge. So you've got a replacement for Chandler Jones in the same archetype, learning from the guy, Chandler Jones himself. So I like that pick for the Raiders. Sucks for my Broncos, but him and Garrett Bowles going head to head with that nasty mean streak that Garrett Bowles has on the left side there, going to be really fun to watch for the next 5 to 7 seasons. So I'm excited for that. Daniel Jeremiah did have Emmanuel Forbes to the Commanders at 6 in his mock draft, or at 16 that mock draft he released yesterday. So yes, he says he's the best ball hawk in this draft and plays very well off the ball in zone coverage. I don't disagree with a lot of that, but go back and watch a lot of his production. A lot of it was tipped balls or where overthrows where he's like the only defender in the area. He's taken 6 interception returns for touchdowns. So he's got ball production. That's absolutely true. But you're talking a guy that weighs less than I do. I'm 167 pounds. Emmanuel Forbes weighs less than I do. I'm not an NFL player, guys. Like, you're talking outlier of all outliers here in terms of body mass. And he showed up at Mississippi State weighing 165 pounds. Like, he barely even grew anything at all in the last 3 years that he's been there. So, that's a major concern. Like, he's physical enough for what he is, but if I'm anybody in the NFL, run power directly to his side and say, come and make a tackle in open field, dude, because we're going to run your ass over.